just say he hasn't bought it yet, and it's been like 7 years, and now they're like $300 more expensive with all like the inflation and stuff. So I'm like, you're not getting one anyway, so it's fine.
Oh my gosh.
You have plenty of other guns. So, but it's just interesting how, like, is it harmful or helpful to have like this concept of having it all? Because I don't think it's that harmful, but it does kind of skew your mind into like the whole like reality versus non-reality. Like it's like you just
picture perfect.
Especially,
kind of thing.
I think it's almost worse now with social media because like when we were kids, like you got it from TV or movies, or like maybe like you did know someone that did live that life and you were envious of it in that moment. I don't necessarily know if it's harmful if it drives you to like do better.
As long as it's driving you and it's not depressing you and making you like feel useless
just
or
inadequate like.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of She's Got It Together. I'm your host, Jessica.
And I'm Samantha. Each week we peel back the curtain on what it really looks like to have it together.
From the messy moments to the milestones, we're here to share it all.
So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive into today's topic.
Hello and welcome back. I just said that really funny. Hello.
Podcasting voice.
Hello.
So not natural.
Okay. It is so not natural. Okay. Well, anyways, hello and welcome back. And I still did it. I don't know. We're going to talk today. I know. It's very funny. It's like that awkward.
Like you're just starting and it's like you almost need to like say like half a sentence before you say welcome.
Right. You just gotta like talk into it and then go, okay.
Well, it's like when you answer the phone, you're like, hello. You know, like you're just like so like.
All right,
anyway.
we're gonna talk about the myth of having it all. Or do you think it's a myth, honestly? Like, is that a myth, or
can you really have it all?
Yeah, can you have it all? I mean,
what does it mean to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and the other part of this, though, which I actually think is the most interesting, is do you have different times in your life where you feel like you might have it all or you don't have it all, or like you're having it all changes, basically.
Right.
So whatever you see as, this great, perfect life changes from one phase to the next in your life. Mm-hmm. So let's just kind of chat about this.
Yeah, I think having it all definitely changes. I think as you like grow and you get older and like you just live more life, like I think having it all definitely changes.
Wisdom
because
comes
when I was
to
younger, when I was younger, like I thought like in the future, like having it all meant like getting married at like 25, having a kid, having a good job, making lots of money, and just like, having like just almost the like cliche, like having the house,
the American dream,
the American dream, right? I thought that was like having it all. And then now, like that I'm actually like older, I'm 33. I always think I'm 30 still. I'm 33. Like I just had my son like a little over a year ago. We still don't own our own home yet. We're, it's just like we're still navigating life, but I like am not where I thought I would be when I was like 16, 18. I thought, I was going to be married, have a kid young, have a great job. He'd have a great job. We'd have all this money. We'd live in a big house. Like that's just not reality
just like
anymore.
Super comfortable, no worries in the world.
Right. That's just like you as like a young kid, like dreaming up this life that quite honestly that like
which
you see all the time, like being portrayed like on TV.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not even like reality because it's not like your parents. Like, I mean, I guess your parents.
We had a great childhood,
but we did.
We had,
but it wasn't like
it wasn't like we were rolling in the dough and like had this huge house and all of these.
It didn't
things
give
and,
us
like,
this
didn't have
really
problems.
Crazy outlook on things.
No, I think a lot of it is just you as a kid dreaming up things in your head that like you see on TV or in movies and like what you think like society is telling you you should have. It's like that's kind of like what you thought having it all meant. Now it's like, to me, having it all just means that I have like a healthy family. We have a roof over our head. We can like pay the bills every month, have a little extra is great. Like, it's like, I don't necessarily know if that's like having it all, but it's like, I have my family, we have our health, like we have somewhere to live, we have food on the table. Like, all of those things to me are more important than like having a ton of money and like having this huge house with all this property and all these material
like being
things.
Happy, honestly,
right? Just
is like
being
having
happy
it all.
And healthy to me right now is just like having it all. Like, I'm obviously pregnant right now. I hope I have a happy and healthy baby. Like, it's just like happy would be great.
Baby.
Not colicky, thank you. But like, those are the things now to me in my current stage of life that, you know, would be like having it all.
Yeah.
Of course, I always would love to have more money and a bigger house, or my own house that I actually own and things like that. Like, it's like there's always something that you're going to want, but I'm happy and I'm comfortable.
But your having it all idea is when you're comfortable, you're happy, not this extravagant
you feel safe.
Life.
Right, exactly.
It's not this picture that we had, which we didn't even get this picture from social media back when we were, you know, dreaming this up. It was
it was more Disney movies
and
Cinderella, like you thought this prince would come and you'd live in this shiny castle and you'd be happy, and like you didn't even know about money and how hard it was to like have money, and like you have to have a good job, you have to make good money, like it's like to afford all of these things that you want. But it's like they don't say any of that. You just assume that it comes, because I'm literally like, I like was talking to my parents the other day and I'm like, so when does the money just come and you're comfortable and your life is good and you just feel secure? And they're like, never. You know, it's like there's never it's never like that. There's always something. You know, I'm like, okay, I just thought there was like an age where you just have it all together.
You finally cross that threshold, and it's like,
because when you're younger, you think like, okay, like my gosh, like 33 is so old when you're like, you know, younger, and you're like, of course by then, like I'm gonna have like a solid job, I'm gonna make money, I'm gonna have a house, I'm gonna have all these, you know, things. And then when you are hitting that age and you don't have half of those things, and you're just like,
what have I done wrong?
Age? What have I done wrong? And it's just like the world's changed, like the economy has changed, like lots of things have changed. So it's like your thing, your myth of having it all will change just kind of based on where you are in the moment.
Reality sets in for you as you get older. So I think that whole extravagant idea of this fairy tale life is kind of replaced with just reality. You know, your wisdom, you know that, you know, you just need these certain things in order to really be happy. You don't need all the, you know, tangible, the vanity items and things like that. Like, it is interesting how it changes.
I think it's great though that like you, when you're younger, you can have all these great like thoughts and ideas and like just live that like oblivious like childhood dream of what your life can be like. But then it's like it almost slowly like sets in that like that's just not how life is. But it's nice that like you can at least live in that little dream world for a while, and then like reality sets in, and like some people probably live there longer than others, but but it's just like it's nice that you at least like don't grow up. I mean, I'm sure some people do grow up with a very harsh reality of how life is. Yeah. But like we were lucky enough that we like had like a nice, you know, easygoing childhood. You know, we were very lucky in that aspect to where we were able to kind of like just slowly grow into the dose of reality. And I feel like going to like college helped, and like you have bills, like you have responsibilities, you have a job, like you have all these things that all of a sudden like, oh, like no one's here telling me like I need to do this or I have to do this. Or I remember calling like my parents all the time for like banking stuff, and you're just like, you know, it's like, okay, it's time to grow up now. Like you have all of these things that you're an adult.
Oh, that's funny.
It's like the reality of your childhood is over.
Oh my gosh.
But I think that's why we're like, so societal expectations do like influence your view of having it all. Because even now, like on Instagram and stuff, like you see what people want you to see. And you can see that they, you know, are making these reels in their perfect house with that's aesthetically pleasing,
right.
and they have like the husband that, you know, dotes over them and does all this stuff, but reality, that's probably like one section or one room of their house that they made aesthetically pleasing, that they make these
for
videos
5 minutes,
in
it's there
for 5 minutes, right? Then their kids come in and destroy it all, and then
right.
like, you know, their relationship probably isn't as perfect as they're saying online,
right.
and they just made this video and then they went and had an argument 10 minutes later, like
right.
it's just like you're just seeing the, you know, what they want you to see.
It's interesting though that social media has even gone that way, because
right,
I wonder where this started. Like, where did this need to portray like perfection start? Because honestly, seeing like the behind the scenes that they would call
that's
it
my
now,
favorite.
like, it is. It's my favorite too. Like,
but
seeing the
still,
real, the raw, like the
yeah. It's like I totally relate to you, you know, but that's just starting to come out now, I think. Like before it was all like aesthetics and positive vibes and like this is like how we are, and like my perfect house with my
everything
perfect
is
husband,
great,
my
everything
perfectly
is wonderful,
behaved,
yeah,
well-dressed kids, you know. But now I love that like moms and, you know, even dads are like showing, you know, the reality of like a day in the life of me with 4 kids and getting them ready and out the door. And you do see like the tantrums. You see the house is a mess. You see that like their relationship isn't perfect, because that's just like how it is. And then
it's normal. You know,
you also though still get those videos of like the perfect house with the perfect decor and everything, and you're like, oh man, I love that. I wish I had that. You know,
I do love that, but it's just like I can't quite figure out like where did that? I mean, maybe it didn't change somewhere. Maybe it came from.
I think it just
the magazines and the videos and the movies,
it started
just
with
like we
magazines,
saw,
and then
it just
now
kind
it's
of continued.
You have the online platform. People just started doing it, and you know, it does make you like, hey, oh, gosh, what if I just bought that cup, that glass that they use with their cute coffee maker?
Because my whole room will turn into what they are showing just from that cup. You know?
And then they're like, oh, like, these are so cheap. They're like $20 on Amazon. I'm like, you order enough stuff and it's not cheap. Mm-hmm. You know, you're spending money on silly things just to make a room aesthetically pleasing so that your videos look nice in the background. I mean, my God, our first podcast episodes, I was in a closet, and you can absolutely tell.
Yes, you had the shelves
you can see
behind
the racks,
you.
like the shelves, because that's the only place in our house that I had that I could do it. Now,
shut the door.
Like, Brett built us a room. I have like a little guest room, because now the guest room is going to be a baby's room. So now I have like a room, but it's like I still have a white wall behind me. I haven't done the cool wallpaper yet. You know, it's just like there's so many things that like I was thinking about before we started doing this. And I'm like, I gotta get that cool wallpaper. I gotta have like cute little shelves with like the figures and the crap on the wall. Like I was like, it has to look nice. Yeah. I was like, I got a plant over here. Like I pulled that over. I'm like, this can't just be a white. Like, so it does get in your head a little bit that you're like, it has to look at it. No one's gonna want to look at it. But the reality is, everyone's like feeling that way. And some people, they're very lucky. They could afford to hire a decorator, and their house is aesthetically pleasing, and maybe they have cleaners that come in and clean. Oh. But then I'm sure like 10 minutes later, if they have kids, I'm sure that nice white room that's all pricked up is, you know, scattered with toys. So it's like, you just can really go down a rabbit hole on these Instagram reels or whatever. And you're just like, dang,
you're losing
I wish
touch.
I had that. I'm losing touch. You're losing touch.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a myth. You know,
and you know,
like there's probably a problem going on that you have no idea about.
Yes.
But their house
honestly, we can only hope, because it starts making you feel, I mean, I know these are supposed to be great. You want to look at them, but then it starts making you feel kind of bad about, well, my house
why
doesn't
can't
look
I
like that.
Do that?
Like, why can't I? Yeah, exactly.
It's like, why
so it's like,
can't I make that much money? Like, why can't I have a house?
What
like
am I
that?
doing wrong? It doesn't look like this. My kids are not.
And then you just become
like
envious and want more things. And then sometimes that makes you go buy things that you shouldn't be buying, and then that doesn't help your financial situation either.
Or the clutter in your house. I mean, come on, you're just making more and more piles of stuff.
I know. Well, and then it's like, oh, you know, it didn't actually look as good in person as it did on that video, or
it doesn't look the same because it
looks more expensive in that video than it does here. It's like, what did they do? It's like, because you want something else that somebody has that you think has this like perfect life, or that has this perfect house, and that's just like, not
it's like
how
that
it goes.
Celebrity mentality that
and you know what, they could have a great house and just be like really
miserable.
sad, or have a issue in their marriage, or be wanting to have kids and can't have kids, or like they could have all these other things going on that you don't know about, and you're just like envious of their home, and they're probably just like thinking of this
picture.
whole life.
We're envious of that one square that we see.
Well, and you're just probably thinking, what I end up doing is like, I think in my mind like about their whole life, like they got this great house, the dad's grilling and the kids are playing by the big old pool, and like they just live the life, man. Like they probably both work from home, or they just make all this money doing these videos, and but that's just the quick snippet, that 30-second snippet that you see, and you already are putting this whole life of theirs in your head that you are envious of, and you're just like, snap out of it. Like, you have a great life, you're healthy, you have a roof over your head, you have food. I was like, you have a great family. I'm like, there's a lot of things to be thankful for, but you can easily slip down and be like, I just wish I had more. I wish I had more money, more this, more that.
It's even comparing yourself to friends or family or other things. And it's like, they got something new. Well, I should get something new. Well, shoot, Sydney just got a new car. I need a new car.
Well, right, yeah.
I mean, it's just like silly things. And I would say that, years ago, back when you guys were in college, it wasn't necessarily this myth of having it all, I guess, but it was me trying to stay, I don't know, like just keep everything kosher, basically, because you guys graduated we're going to graduate from Central, and I hadn't finished my bachelor's yet. So of course that pushed me to want to graduate at least at the same time, or before. And just these little things, it's like, if I think back about that now, it's kind of funny to me that that's what motivated me to do it. It's the same thing with my associates. I wanted to have my associates before you graduated from high school, and I literally did it but
sometimes it's like a healthy push because you need it. But then other times you're just like, I need to do this because they're 8 years younger than me, and I better have my degree before they do, or when they do. I should be. I'm the older sister. I should be meeting these milestones before them.
Exactly,
and that's like a societal thing.
It is, and it pushed me twice to do this, and it's just
which
such
I guess
a weird
is like
thing
good, but at the same time, it's like you don't want to necessarily like get into this like rut of feeling like you're constantly comparing yourself to someone in your family or whoever, just because like you feel like you should have done this first, or you like they shouldn't get that done before me, or like I should have a better job, I should be making more money, they're younger than me. But like that's such a thing,
bad, wrong. They shouldn't be thinking that way. Those are the biggest things that I remember, just comparing myself with you guys. And it wasn't even comparing myself. It was your milestones. That was the perfect, perfect call on that. That's what it was. It's like, I needed to complete these things because it's just the way it should be.
Well, and that's just like how really, like it's ingrained to you as like a human, really. It's like, okay, you go to high school, then like you're supposed to go to college, then you're supposed to get married, then you're supposed to have kids, then you're supposed to like get the promotion at work, then you're supposed to, you know, like it's literally like you were supposed to do all these things, and if you veer off a little bit, it's like society's like, no, don't do that. That's not how you're supposed to do it. It's like, oh my God, you had kids before you got married. How dare you? And it's just like, oh, you didn't go to college? Okay.
Right.
You know, it's just like it's, I do like that, like, society now is changing, but I still feel like when we were younger and going to high school and college, like, that was still, like, what was very, very much expected of you.
That was,
Now it's, like, not so much like that, and it's definitely much better, and I think healthier as, like, a society as a whole is better.
More of a decision. I mean, because you don't have to. You could do trade schools. I mean, you could do. There's so many other things you can do.
College is so unbelievably expensive now, and like with student loans and everything else, like you're in debt before you even have a decent job. And then you are still like even in debt when you have a job, and then half your money is going to pay off your school that you had for this job. And it's just like, it's such a messed up system, but like you could go down a rabbit hole talking about that, but it's like, my God.
Yeah, it is pretty wild though. I mean, there are so many things that just cause us to want more or feel like we need to be a step ahead or whatever. It's just it's so crazy. I mean,
well, and some people are very like career driven, or they would rather have a family. Like there's like two different people. There's like, I really want to be successful in my career, and that's what's most important to me, and then maybe I'll have a family. Or you're just like, you know what, I just really want to have a family. Right. I can, like, the career comes second. So I feel like some people might feel, a lot of people feel like you have to choose. Do you have to choose between having a career and having a family? Can you not have both? And it's like, I guess it just depends on the type of career that you want.
Work from home mom. Or no, not a work from home. You're going to stay at home mom. You're just going to be a stay at home mom. You don't have to work. So you just start the family and go down that road. And some
people can do that.
That's like the dream. Yeah.
And no, like obviously, like I can't do that. Like I'm a work from home mom, and like
but neither one of us could have just done that. Like we need
just stay home,
right? Well, but we need this like interaction. We need to have something else to complete us. Just stay home. I feel like
I could have stayed home. Like you just stayed home. As in the beginning years with Bo right now, I could totally. Yeah. Once he was in school, I would need something to do. Yeah. But I feel like right now, like him being so young and like a baby, I would be totally content just being 100% at home with him. I say that now because I'm not. I'm very busy during the day with him and with work and whatever. But I, in my mind, have thought like, oh yeah, I could definitely have just stayed home with him till he's like 4 or 5, and then with like every kid. But then at the other thing is, it's like, okay, I don't necessarily have that option. So if I did have that option, would I be seeking out some other outlets? Like because
the grass is always greener on the other side. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So who knows? I feel like I chose a job as like a teacher when I was younger. Like I went to school, I became a teacher. I got pregnant, had Bo. I didn't want to teach anymore. I wanted to be home with him. And then this came up. So I'm like, perfect. Yeah. But then I always chose the job as a teacher and playing teacher at home because I wanted to be a mom, and I knew that I could be a teacher and be a mom at the same time. I would have summers off.
Things I had like the that. Breaks. Yeah.
And then I even as a kid, because mom stayed at home, but she had the daycare at home. So she was still a work from home mom, but she was there. But she, a lot of the times would have teachers' kids. So then she'd have the summer off. Like she basically worked like a teacher schedule. So then I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. Like I can still be present in the summer. I have breaks. I can teach at the same school as my kid for a while and all this. Like, so
see,
in my mind when I was little.
Coming up. There you go.
And then, and so then like, granted, teaching has changed very much since I was younger and even in college. And so then I just got to a point where I'm like, I don't even want to do this anymore. I will not be a very present mom. And I taught preschool, pre-K. So I was like, I don't know how I can go home to my kid after dealing with all of these other people's kids. Yeah. It's exhausting, and you want to be like a nice, cool, calm, present mother.
Home every cold, sickness. Germ, whatever. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it just, luckily, like the timing of everything worked out very well for me, and like I've always enjoyed doing like, online, like networking, influencing, like whatever you want to call it. And so it worked out great, but it doesn't always work out for people, like
definitely not.
If this didn't come up, I would have had to keep working and then put Bo in daycare. And then, let's be honest, on a teacher's salary, putting your kid in daycare, you're just working for the daycare.
For daycare.
So it's literally like, at that point, I don't know what I would have done.
You would have had some decisions to make.
Yeah, because, is it really worth it being away from your kids? Some people just have to work for the insurance. Like they pay the daycare, but they get the insurance, so they have to work just for the insurance. So it's like, luckily, like my husband has great insurance, so we were on his. But, it's not like we were comfortable enough for me to just completely stop working.
Right. Financially.
Because,
I mean, there's still bills.
Like, we have goals and things, and, like, you know, we're, like, obviously not where we want to be at this point, but it's, like, there are so many things that, like, even just working part-time, like, you have, like, that security of, like, extra money, or, you know, just, like, you're not completely solely reliant on one person. And, like, I want to make my own money. I want to contribute to, like, the household too. Like, it's not just on Brett. I can sit here and be like, oh yeah, I'd love to be a stay-at-home mom and not have to worry about money. My husband makes millions of dollars and it's totally fine. No, I don't have that luxury. And quite honestly, I feel like you said, like, I would probably get bored. I would need something to do. And
you need some
more power
kind
to
of
you.
purpose.
If you live in, like, a multi-million-dollar home and you can just sit and relax and enjoy that life, more power to you, man. Like, I'm sure, like, I could do that for a little while, but then at the same time, it's like, you'd
need a purpose after that outside of
that's
the
when you start lunching and brunching and getting on, like, charity boards or something, maybe being on committees. Like, that's all good, because you need people to do those things too. So it's like, there's just so many different lifestyles out there.
There is no one right lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can be very envious of other people's lifestyles, and that's okay. Like, everybody always wants more. Like, you can be content and still want more. I think
that's human nature to want more.
And you want what you can't have or what you don't have. You know, it's just human nature to want that.
I think it's one of those things that you learn to not focus on so much as you get older, though. You know, you really start focusing on the things that actually matter. You know, in your life. And I think that that's probably the biggest change, because, I mean, you can dream for everything, but most of the time, you know, it's not going to kind of come to fruition for you.
Well, and it's like, you know, you can be super envious of people and have no idea, like, what they went through or how hard they worked to get where they are.
Like, again, they could the whole have come, Instagram.
Right, and they could have come from nothing and have worked their asses off for years and years and years and made so many sacrifices and all this stuff to get where they are. And not everyone is willing to do that.
Right,
you know,
it's
like,
very much a personal preference on that.
Yeah, I'm like, I like my Starbucks coffee. It's like freaking $6 now. I could not get a Starbucks coffee and save, gosh, I don't know. I maybe get one a week, if that. I give myself an allowance. I have the Starbucks app, and I put $25 a month on there. I never used to drink it. Like, I was obsessed with it for a while, then I completely stopped drinking it. Now that I'm pregnant, for whatever reason, like, I just really want the cinnamon dolce lattes. And so I've given myself a $25 allowance for the month, so I can maybe get, like, one a week if I wanted to.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't do it every week, and then half the time I'm buying Sid one too, and I just that takes up my time. So I get like 2 a month, okay? Like, sue me. But it's like, I like my little luxuries. Coffee is a thing for me, and you know what? People are probably listening to this and be like, "My God, you could save so much money a year if you just stop buying coffee from Starbucks."
Right.
And then it's like, but you know what? I am not that person.
But
right now.
That makes you happy right now.
Right.
It's like, your world.
Right. I'm just living in it. You know, it's just, I feel like there are so many things that we could do to change, like budgeting or this or that. And you know what? Some people can do like all the Dave Ramsey steps and things like that. And Brett and I have actually really, really talked about doing some of those things. And then we just don't do it. And then it's like,
it frustrates
we should really
me
do this. We should really do this.
Well, but so my problem with this is I don't want to give up anything or give up some of the family things like trips or stuff. Like, I am fine and content moving around funds to make it, you know, like robbing Peter to pay Paul kind of thing, in order to, you know, have these memories made with my family. As opposed to saying, okay, the next 2 years, we're not doing anything. We're going to pay off all our debt. You know, like, we're going to save everything. But then if you think about it, it's like, in hindsight, if you think about it, it's 2 years versus the rest of your life. I know. It is.
And it's like, if you just give it up for 2 years, you could be debt-free. You could blah, 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 blah. But
what
at
if
the
I'm
same
not
time,
here in
it's
2
like,
years?
well, right.
Like, what if
that's what I
something
mean.
happens?
That's
like,
what I mean, though.
me.
It's like, it's such a, like, you literally have to totally be on board with something that drastic.
Yeah.
Or
I can't.
you just kind of like try to like be good. You know, you try and go through these phases of
fall
budgeting
in the middle
or
of this, yeah.
like just like doing this or doing that. But I mean, it's hard. It's like a really big decision. A guy that I went to college with, him and his now wife, they did like the Dave Ramsey steps and paid off all their student loan debt. And I think they paid off their house. They paid off like over $100,000 worth of debt. But they did the steps for like a few years, and then now they're debt free. And it's like, God, I look at his things come up on my Instagram. This is the whole thing. It's freaking Instagram.
Yes.
And I'm like, God, you know what? I get all jazzed up. I'm like, yeah, we can do this, Brett. We can do it. We don't have that much debt. Like, it's like, literally, it's like credit cards.
Right.
Like,
but
Brett and I literally each have a credit card. And honestly, I think there's probably like $3,000 on mine or something like that. And it's like,
so it's
you
not
know what?
as huge.
It's literally like my student loans are paid off. Like, it's just like, it's like, there's just there's these little things, and you're just like, but you know what? We really got to start saving for a house. If that's our biggest thing right now. It's like we really, the housing market sucks, especially here in Grand Rapids. Like, there's not a lot in the market.
So
Everything's
expensive.
way overpriced.
Yeah.
It's just like, we don't want to buy anything right now anyways. But it's like, we just keep saying, maybe we just can build a house. We got to save more money. We can build a house. So that's like our goal. But it's like, it's like we have to make some changes if we want to keep building our savings account over here.
Right.
Sam,
less and less is going in.
Yeah. And so it's literally like just silly things like that it's like, do I really need this coffee? Does it make me happy?
Does it make me happy?
So
Does it spark joy?
Is it spark joy? It does spark joy. I literally like do a dance on my way back from getting it. I'm like, ooh, you know. But anyways.
Yeah. I don't know. I think everyone has to make their own decision on that for sure, because that's where I fall. And I know that my husband and I disagree a bit on this, because I want to enjoy the now because you don't know about the future. Mm-hmm. But, you know, he also wants to make sure that if the future comes,
well, right,
we're okay.
Right. Well, gosh, what was I watching? It was a Grey's Anatomy episode, and this guy had like a tumor or a heart thing or something, and him and his wife were traveling around the world. They like sold all their stuff and
living like he's
were
dying,
spending all of this money,
right.
living like he was gonna die any day. They ended up in the hospital over like some little something, and then obviously like when they did like his scans and stuff, they found that he had this issue, and they told him, and he's like, oh yeah, I know. And they're like, oh, you know? And then he's like, yeah, that's why like we sold everything, we're traveling, whatever. And then they're like, no, well, we think we can fix that. And he's like, no, they've done this, they can't fix it. It's like, well, I think I can fix it. So he does like this surgery, and then he lives and like is fine. And then they're like, wait, so you're saying he's okay? He's gonna live? And then they start crying, like, oh my God, we've
spent all our money.
We've spent all of our money, and I think we've like committed fraud and like done all this stuff. And they're just like, oh my God, like, what are we gonna do? We can't pay this back. We thought you were gonna die,
right?
And so then they're like, oh shit, So tomorrow came. He didn't think it was coming, but it came.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
so
boy.
That's another good point. I think I'm kind of like that. Like, I'm like, oh, well, we do need it. Like, we don't really need it, but it's like, we do need it. It would be more helpful for us to have this or whatever. And then Brett's more like, eh. But, if it comes to buying like a tool or something that he needs, he's like, oh, but, I need this for this.
Yes,
and I'm like, do you though? Like, couldn't you borrow one from someone? Like, do you really need it? So it just is what's important to you, I guess. Most of mine's like stuff for the house or Bo or whatever. I mean, now that you're a mom, like, I feel like that changes. Yeah. But like Brett's still more like, oh yeah, I need this tool because it'll build this for us, or it's like a hobby or something. Gosh, he wants a Benelli like Super Black Eagle like nobody's business. He's been talking about this for like the last 7 years, and he has like a Benelli fund that he puts like money in, but then money usually has to get like taken out, pulled out, moved around.
Important things.
Let's just say he hasn't bought it yet, and it's been like 7 years, and Now they're like $300 more expensive with all like the inflation and stuff. So I'm like, you're not getting one anyway, so it's fine.
Oh my gosh.
You have plenty of other guns. So, but it's just interesting how, like, is it harmful or helpful to have like this concept of having it all? Because I don't think it's that harmful, but it does kind of skew your mind into like the whole like reality versus non-reality. Like it's like you just
picture perfect,
especially
kind of thing.
I think it's almost worse now with social media because like when we were kids, like you got it from TV or movies, or like maybe like you did know someone that did live that life and you were envious of it in that moment. I don't necessarily know if it's harmful if it drives you to like do better.
As long as it's driving you and it's not depressing you and making you like feel useless
just
or
inadequate or like worthless kind of. Like if you're having those feelings, of course, it's definitely harmful. But again, that's like how people perceive things, and everybody's different. So it's like, well, that's for me, it's different. It's not harmful. For me, it's not harmful. I like don't have those thoughts. I'm just like, I'm envious of people that have more than me, or I want more things, but that's just human nature. But I'm not over here like feeling
you're not dwelling
sorry
on it.
For myself,
you're not, like,
dwelling on it. I mean, I feel sorry for
like
myself sometimes, I guess. But I'm not dwelling on
when
it.
I can't have my Starbucks.
Right. It's like, God dang it. It's not, I guess it's not hindering me from like living life. I'm not like, it's not harming me in any way. Yes,
there's no negative. It's not negatively
everybody
impacting
wants
you.
More. Right. It's not impacting me in a way where I can't get up every day and live my life and I'm upset about my life and just dwelling on it every day. But yes, of course I want more. Everybody does.
Right. Everybody does. It is. Like,
even people that have everything want something. It might not be materialistic. It could be a relationship. It could be like an emotional attachment. It could be health. Right. So there's always something that somebody wants. It's not necessarily a material thing. It could just be like a relationship, health, family. People could be millionaires living in their big old house alone and just want a family to put in it, and they don't have that. Right. So it's like everybody's idea of having it all is different. And I think a lot of the time when you think of having it all, money comes to mind. Right. At least like for me, it does.
That's
because
kind of I don't know, it's just the norm. Right.
Well, and then, I have like a great family, a great extended family. I have my son that's healthy. I have my health, like so to me, the wanting more would just be like more money, you know, because that could give me more things. But
we've been trained that money fixes everything. Money is like, that's the
right. In order to buy this car, you need more money. In order to buy this house, you need money. In order to buy this nice gift for someone, like, you need money. Like, so it's just like that to me is like, that to me is like the only thing that I would need more of at this point in my life to make things happen that I want. And I could budget more.
Right. I would say there's always a way.
I could give up things. I could do the baby steps, but I haven't yet. So obviously it's not that important to me.
Right.
On a like realistic level.
Yes.
It maybe should be, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
So it just, everybody's going to have their view of having it all. And I don't know. I think
that works.
I think that everybody has something that they want that they don't have. And that's just human nature.
But being content, I think we mentioned being content earlier, but being content with what you have right now, that's kind of what this is about, not the dream, but being content where you're at. So, I mean, but like I said, having it all it's to each their own.
Yeah,
I think.
Exactly.
Yeah. So guess we can leave it there, and hopefully everyone is, content with their current place, or if not, then I guess you work on it. But having it all is what you make of it. So
absolutely.
Thanks for joining us today on She's Got It Together. It's been a real journey sharing and laughing with you all.
We hope you're walking away with a smile on your face and a bit more confidence in your step.
Remember, you're not alone in this crazy ride called life. We're all in this together, one day at a time.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and of course, share this podcast with all the incredible women in your life.
Join us next week for more stories, more laughs, and more real talk.
Until then, keep embracing your unique journey and remember, you've got it together more than you think.